Here we go. Here we go. We're live. Hello, everyone. Hello. Welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're a couple of minutes early, but we're just doing this as we always do to just double check to make sure everything's working and you can hear us. So please let us know in the chat room if you can hear us. Say hi if you can hear us. And we'll just do a quick mic check. So that obviously I've just done mine, and we'll go this way. So next one.
Hey,
mic
you,
check.
mic check?
Mic check, you.
Oh, okay. Hi, mic check, mic check.
Okay.
I'm Endo from Sonicware. Thank you for inviting and thanks for watching.
All right. Mic check for Chris.
Hiya. Hello.
Beautiful. And Evan.
Hey, everybody. How's it going?
Beautiful. And Enric.
Yes. Hi.
Yay.
Hope you're all doing well.
Hello. Good. Beautiful. All right. And this is all of us. This is the whole crew. Now, in about 1 minute, I'm going to start the show officially because that's when we've scheduled it. So this is all just a real couple of minute test, and let's let YouTube kind of settle in and let all the bits need to flow, the electrons happen around the world. So just to fill that 2 minutes, I just thought this is actually pretty cool. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually travel around the world. We're going to start from Australia, and then we're going to go to Japan with you. He's in Japan. And then I think the next country geographically, if you were kind of to head west, I think, would probably be Denmark. There's a big jump from Japan to Denmark. And then I think the next country would probably be the UK, which is where Chris is. And then last but never least is the California in the United States of America. Wave the big flag.
Yeah.
And that's where Evan is.
Yeah, we're country-sized, right? Something.
So hopefully my internet connection here in Australia, because we have internet in Australia is run by kangaroos and koalas. I don't know if you know that, and they just I don't know how they're holding up, but yeah, we'll see. I think the crikey sign might have to come out in a minute. We'll see how we go.
Mine was off for 5 hours yesterday.
Oh,
I was really
no.
panicking.
Oh no! All right,
I've never done that since we've been here.
let's start the show. We hit the hour. Let's go.
Good.
And of course, it just pauses like that for some weird reason. Oh, there we go. And for some other weird reason, it's not even showing me. But anyway, that's fine. Here I am. Hey! Hello, everyone. Welcome to a different show. Yes, why are we streaming at this weird hour? Well, we've got an amazing special show here for you today. And what we're going to be showing is the Liven XFM synthesizer from Sonicware. And we've got everyone here who is dying to tell you all about it. So let's introduce everyone. For a start, here's everyone here. So we'll start with, obviously the star is the developer and founder of Sonicware, which is Dr Yu Endo. Big welcome to you. Say hello to the world.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you so much. I'm Endo from Sonicware, and now we are launching new Liven series, new Liven XFM. So I'm happy to explain and introducing this device. Thank you.
Ah, fantastic. Very well said. Excellent. And we're going to go next. We're going to go next to Chris from the UK. Chris is another fellow YouTuber. Say hello to everyone, Chris.
Yeah, hi everybody.
So, Chris, you're gonna show us some stuff on the synth a bit later. So we'll get to that. So we're all excited about that. You've been busy jamming and doing things, so that's cool. Next, we've got Evan. Evan is also working with Sonicware. Please introduce yourself and say hi.
Hi. My name is Evan Sirchuk. I am a sound designer and the community manager for Sonicware. So if you see someone answering questions in our Facebook groups or on Reddit, it's probably me. So I'm excited to kind of go into the depths of the XFM and talk about what makes it different from other FM synths. So yeah, get ready to nerd out.
Fantastic. Well said, well said. All right, and last but not least is Henrik, and he's one of the regulars on the show. Big hello to you, mate. Thanks for joining us. I know it's really early in your neck of the woods, so thanks for getting up. Have you had your coffee yet?
No, I have tea.
Okay, you've had your
And
tea.
I've been
That's
working
good.
for a few hours, so I've been awake.
Fantastic. Beautiful. And that's everyone. Now, it's not actually really, because when we do a live stream, there's also these other people that tend to sort of hang around, and they're the chatties. So a big warm welcome to all of the chatties that are sitting in the chat room. Make sure if you're actually just lurking and you're not actually in the chat room to come in and say hi. We won't bite. We love you all, and also there's going to be an opportunity for all of you to definitely ask your questions. Rightio, let's kick it off. All right, I'm going to hand it over to Evan. Do you want to start with the proceedings, mate, and we can
sure.
work from there?
Yeah. So there's a lot of FM synthesizer hype right now. So I would like to just kind of show how the XFM is different. And it uses something that we're calling the Fusion FM engine, which is this idea that instead of making FM sounds by coming up with pre-deciding an algorithm and trying to route everything, we have a different approach. So let me just share my screen really quickly. Share screen, and I'll pick screen 2. I'll prevent streamception. One moment. All right, then I will allow. There we go. Okay. So this is how the operators on the Sonicware Liven XFM work. So you can see we have our 4 operators. And if I bounce back a slide here, you can see that this is your traditional FM operator routing. So before you even start doing any sound design, you sort of have to decide what the structure of your sound is going to be. So there's a lot of pre-planning before you can get in and start making a sound. So with the XFM, we decided to try and have a new approach. So with the Liven XFM, the idea is that you have your 4 operators, and they're all interconnected to each other. So to decide what a particular operator sounds like, you just decide, okay, how much do I want operator 1 to feed into 2? How much do I want it to feed into 3? How much do I want it to feed into 4? And how much do I want it to feed back into itself? And then how much do I want to go to the output? So you do that with each operator to build your sound. So that's kind of the main idea of how the FM is structured, which is quite a bit different than a DX7 or really anything else FM-wise. And feel free to interrupt me whenever you want, because I can talk forever. So then what is FM Fusion? Well, the idea with FM Fusion is that you should be able to smoothly morph between 2 FM sounds. And because all patches share the same algorithm, you're able to smoothly morph from one FM sound to another. And every step in between those 2 FM sounds is a valid preset sound. So if you find that, when I get 85% through this bell sound and this, pad sound, I really like that, you can capture that and save that as a new FM sound and then fuse that with other stuff. So the main kind of workflow with the Fusion FM is to explore the FM sounds that are in there. Then you can merge it with another one to kind of create, what you want between the 2. And then you can adjust some filter stuff and some envelope stuff and stuff like that, kind of surface level. and then you can save that as a new FM sound, and then you could, if you just want a sound design, you could just do this loop forever. But if you want to start working on a track, you can assign one sound to each of the 4 like MIDI tracks, and it's 6 voice polyphonic. So those 6 voices are shared among those 4 tracks. And then you can build your sequences. You can record automation, or as it's called, parameter lock in the Electron ecosystem. And then you can link your sequences together. And then there's various ways that you can tweak your sequences in real time. And then one kind of cool feature in the sequencer is that all your steps can have a probability. So you can set per step probability of a particular note launching. So in that way, you can create generative stuff. You can create kind of some more liveliness within your sound. Yeah, so that kind of explains the XFM's approach to FM synthesis. And then there's 2 interesting engines. You're not, so let's say you created your FM sound here, and in this demonstration, in the last time I explained this, I said, well, you start with sound 1, and then you create a mixture between the 2. Well, we have, one of the engines is called XLFO. So what that lets you do is create an LFO that is continually morphing between 2 FM sounds. So that's an interesting approach to sound design. And then we have another engine that lets you morph between one and another over a set envelope. So not only can you morph these sounds and you can create new FM sounds without building things from scratch, but you can also use that morphing capability as like a way to add movement to sound. Yeah, and the FM Fusion, you don't have to make sounds this way. You don't have to only make your sounds by morphing and merging sounds together. We just offer that as the surface level approach to FM, because we realize that some people want to get into the operators and all the routing, and some people just want to explore sounds and do it more intuitively. And I think there hasn't really been an FM synth that allows you to do FM intuitively. It's mostly all been traditional algorithm based. Yeah, and because we have this structure, if you're somebody like Chris who's a FM wizard and wants to build sounds from scratch, that's totally accessible. And there's an overlay that goes on top of the XFM that allows you to modify all the operators real quickly, because the Liven has a ton of knobs on it. So by having an overlay, we can dedicate most of the knobs to the FM engine. So there's not a lot of menu diving or routing difficulty. So anyway, I want to get you out of PowerPoint land as quickly as possible, because I'm sure I'm putting the audience to sleep. But yeah, that kind of explains the FM engine in a nutshell.
Fantastic. Well done. That was really well presented. Now, I think what we'll do is we'll go to Dr. Yu, and I think maybe we can get him to tell us a little bit about where he started with this and his motivations, and and then maybe a little bit after that we can go to Chris for some demonstration. So that's Chris. Where is he? There he is, Dr. Yu. So yeah, tell us a little bit about where you started and how you got to this amazing synthesizer.
First of all, I think about DX7 compatibility or something, but we have already there is a DX7 or another compatibility many FM synthesizers. So I think I have to make more new unique engine, so that we are discussing, and many discuss. We was we had many discussing with my team and another artist, and then I decide and develop this fusion engine.
Right, fusion engine, which we kind of looked at before. Yeah. And so you discuss with development, and then so basically how does that then? I'll just quickly go to all of us so we can see everyone. So when you've discussed this with your engineer, like how did you come up with the idea? Like what sort of? I know you said that you were sort of looking at the DX7, and we were talking before about wanting to get some sort of way to make FM sounds a bit less algorithmic, a little bit less mathematical. Was that kind of the motivation here, or did you have something else in mind?
Yeah, like how did you come up with like the everything connection solution?
First, I have that fusion idea, but if we use classic FM algorithm, we cannot make smooth morphing of parameters. So we have to make more borderless. We have to make borderless algorithm. That meaning is if we can control, if every operator has some receive level from another operator's signal, maybe we can, I thought we can make more smooth fusion engine. Oh, maybe my English pronunciation is no good. So Evan, please.
He's doing good. Yeah. He's doing good.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, he's doing a great job. So yeah, I think the idea is that the concept of fusion came first. So it was, okay, well, we want to smoothly merge, these FM presets together, and this is not at all compatible with having these different algorithms, because if you switch algorithm, if you're trying to morph between one algorithm and another one, in one patch, operator one might be your carrier and the other one might be your modulator. And then in your second patch, you may only be using operator 3 and 4. So how do you, and they may be structured in a way where some are going to the output and some aren't. So the idea was like, okay, well, how do we solve this problem of trying to merge patches? And the solution to that ended up being, well, if you have problems with breaks and connections between algorithms, why not just tie everything together all the time so that you can smoothly transition between one and another, because at that point you're just transitioning values. And there's some different magic that has to happen to make that work, especially if you want to keep the pitch from one sound to another. But there's different options for that. So there's one mode where nothing is locked. So between your one patch and the other patch, you're going to get into weird atonal sound effect territory, where the pitch is going to go all over the place and the envelopes are going to be weird transitions between 1 and 2. And then we have a mode where the pitch is locked. So between 1 and 2, the pitch always stays steady. And then we have another mode where the envelopes are locked. So that means that kind of the overall timbre and the envelope of the sound is going to stay similar. And then we have a mode where the envelopes and the pitch is locked. So at that point, you're just kind of like doing a more steady transition between the two. So we kind of offered you those options. And then there's these different colors that you can add to it, which change the curves of how it's transitioning between the two. And that gives you a whole different range of colors between the two. like different timbres between the two patches. So there's a lot of sound design potential just in the morphing.
Yeah.
So
you know what I think we should do? I reckon we should have a listen to it. I think there's people who have never, if they've never ever seen this or heard this before. So Chris, are you ready to rock and roll? Can you give us an awesome little? We've got a few people in the chat saying, "Let's hear it." There you go. I'll leave it all to you.
Yeah.
I'll run this whole demo through, I guess. Here we're using Sonic for this. You can mute levels, tracks. So this bass has been produced by the Xils-labs engine. So we've got one bass patch on this sound bank and another bass patch on this sound bank. And then also these steps are all being played with probability, so these won't play back exactly the same every time. You've got sorry, got a kick drum on track 4, hi-hats on track 3, with also playing with probability, so these won't play the same every time either. And then got some strings playing on track 1. And then we get into some slightly dirtier effects here. We've got distortion. Send delay. And then bit crusher. And we got chorusing. A bit of flanger. There we go, we're back to delay. A nice big cheesy ending.
Beautiful. Very nicely done. Very nicely done.
Yeah.
So I'll just quickly, we'll go to all of us for a sec, but I'll just quickly sort of mention a couple of things too. So, wrong person, me. So when you guys are listening to this, please do understand one thing, and that is that the audio connection that we can get through a web-based video call is never going to be perfect. So please understand that this thing sounds even better than what that just sounded like just then in real life. And because there's so much compression and everything going on. And it's not just your standard YouTube compression, there's also like a video call compression, and there's all sort of other things playing at it here. But obviously take that on board and use your imagination. Thanks very much, Chris. That was a really, really awesome demo.
Thank you.
So Evan, where would you like to do you want to take some questions next? Where would you like to go next with this?
Sure. Yeah. We're totally open to questions. I watch a lot of these shows, so I've definitely been in the audience position. So yeah, feel free. And I also threw in the YouTube chat as well a link to Chris's demos. He's done 3 so far. So that'll be a chance to hear those in stunning high quality.
All right. Let me just
hear a little more of Chris's work.
Let me just mod you, and then you'll be able to put links in. Okay, so now you're able.
Sweet.
So now you're able to put mids. All right, beautiful. Okay.
Let me see if I submit that one more time. Yeah, there we go. Sweet.
Yeah,
Questions? Hit me. Hit us. We're
All
ready.
right. So we'll go to the YouTube chatties, and what we'll do is we'll put Chris up in not that corner, that corner. There you go. Chris can answer. Sorry, Evans. Sorry, I put Evan there. What am I talking about? Who's better to answer questions, Evan or Chris? Who do you think?
Probably both of us.
All right, I can swap between you.
I can do it for now. Yeah. And Chris, feel free to jump in.
Okay, so we've got Avril Cadabra says, so each track, can it have different...
Hey, how's it going?
Can it have a different XFM engine on each track? That's the first question.
Yes, that is correct. All 4 of the tracks on the sequencer are independent. They all have their own envelope, they all have their own LFO, and they all have their own FM sound. That's how Chris is able to create the pads and the bass and the 2 drum sounds. Those are all different FM setups there.
Okay,
and you can see he can press the track buttons to mute and unmute and change settings on each one.
Okay, the next question was from Bjorn, and he said, can it accept DX7 formats? And I know you guys have been ready for this question, so here we go.
Yeah, so it can't because of the way that the operators are structured. And also our FM engine is totally from scratch. So there isn't really the values don't match up in terms of like if you give this SysX or even if you just tried to duplicate an oscillator, the values wouldn't be the same. The value ranges wouldn't be the same. So for that reason, it isn't compatible with like legacy FM synths in terms of importing sounds and stuff like that. But you can export sounds and patterns, and basically anything you save on here, you can export by SysX over the 5-pin Midi.
Okay, fantastic. All right, now this is more a comment from Failed Muso, who's Robbie Puricelli. He's also part of the Pro Synth Network. I don't know if you've catched their show. He's actually a pre-order customer, so he's got skin in the game.
Awesome.
Comment. This is more for Chris for his ego. If I hadn't already bought this, Chris's demo would make me buy it again. So well done, Chris. There was a bit of a pat on the back for you, matey.
Thanks very much. Thanks very much.
Guys in the chat, make sure you do ask your questions. There's a lot more than what we've shown you. This thing's a lot deeper than we've only touched 0.1% of this what this can do. So if you've got some questions about this, obviously it's built-in sequencer. It's got built-in effects. We've had a little look about how you can actually go and change the engine. Maybe that's what they want to see. Maybe a bit of sound design, showing that sort of new thing. Would you want to do that with that, Chris? Would that be a good start? Maybe that might
some patterns ready for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. So right. So here we've got across the top here. These are our different engines that you can select through from Xlab, Xform, which is the envelope-based morphing, XLFO, which is the LFO-based morphing, and then library at the bottom, which just plays a single patch without any kind of morphing. So here we've got Xlab selected, as we can see, and in this side we've got a soft sort of vocal pad sound, and on this side we've got a bright pad, and as we go between them, as Evan was saying, at any point you could just sample that using the capture function and save it into another preset. So if we then decided we wanted to load those two into the Xform engine, that's the envelope based morphing. So again, we've got the same soft pad this side and bright pad that side. Depending on how long we set our envelope for, we slowly morph between them. Also, as an option on the Xform engine, we can just jump quickly depending on this setting. We can also have it so that it just immediately leaps from one setting to the next, from one patch to the next. So for example, you could take the transient off the start of a percussive sound and add that onto the tail of a violin, or a softer sound, so it'd go pop and then you'd have a sustained tail. So there's kind of two ways of using the Xform engine. And then so if we look at, so these are really consonant kind of sounds. They have the same operator settings, so you're going to get a smooth transition. But if we loaded two sounds in that aren't set up like that, so we have here, this is a sync lead, and then on the side we've got again a pad sound. If we were going to fade between these, we've got our pitch lock switched off completely. You're going to get a really atonal. So all the operators are gliding in a linear fashion in terms of pitch between each other, and also all the way that the routings are made are also travelling in a linear fashion. So you get that really kind of atonal movement. So if we put that into the Xform engine, you're going to get this kind of thing. So we start off on a nice consonant sounding kind of chord. We slide through sort of atonal dissonant territory, and then all the way back to being a nice consonant chord again. That's really quite a powerful tool. There's kind of tons to explore in terms of what that can do. And then so like if we loaded two sounds in that were, so that here we've got a square based sort of detune sound, and on this side we've got a saw based sound. And the way that feedback works on the XFM is that we've got positive feedback and negative feedback. So if we crank the feedback on an operator up to fully clockwise, we get a bright saw, and if it's fully anti-clockwise, we get a bright square, and in the middle there's going to be a sine. So have a sine here and a square that side. That's all four operators set up to do feedback on the two patches. So a square one on this side and a saw one on that side. So if we load those two again into the XLFO engine, you get this kind of thing. And then we've got a bunch of different waveforms to choose from. So all these, this morphing can be done using lots of different shapes. With random. Or even square. So yeah, I hope that kind of explain a little bit how that works.
Now they're going crazy in the chat room, so let's catch up. So I'm going to leave it with you, Chris, on your shot there, because I think it's relevant. So few questions. First one, we'll sort of go backwards. So with the sequencer, I'm guessing you can solo and mute tracks, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Yep. That was asked by Moretti, who's in the chat.
You just achieve
I don't think it's
by muting the. Sorry, Evan.
Oh yeah, no, we're on the same page. Yeah, there isn't a dedicated solo function, but of course you could solo something by muting the other three tracks.
Yeah.
Perfect. So Avril Cadabra said, so talk to me about the LFOs. The 8-bit has 2 if you're using the FM engine. How many LFOs do we have here, and what shapes? Are there any LFO upgrades over the 8-bit?
Yeah, so yes, we have obviously an LFOs within the XLFO engine, but then for pitch and filter, we've got a dedicated LFO on the front, which also has its own shape settings. So this can be different to, this is completely separate from the one within the XFO engine. And we also have LFO delay settings, so we can set how long it takes for the LFO to start. So yeah, again, I think we've got the same shapes in here actually. Yeah, triangle, saw, reverse saw random, and 2 logarithmic
Oh,
curves.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, so,
So that can be routed separately to pitch and to filter.
oh, okay, cool. I think there was also another question in there. When are they available? I think the answer is May, right?
Yeah, it depends on when you pre-order it. So we're doing it in batches. I think our May batch is already sold out. Let me just check the site.
That's right.
Yeah, so the first batch is shipping out is hoping to ship out in May, and then the next batch, we're on the second round, will ship out in June. And we're doing that in 300 unit chunks. So yeah, that's kind of the staggering of it.
Okay, and that one was asked by Epigon1, who's in the chat. So I'm calling out all your questions, guys. So with the delay, yeah, I think he's just making a comment. So Avril Cadabra saying, awesome, with the delay, also big upgrade over the 8-bit. Pretty sure I'm a pre-order number 1. So he's pretty keen on it. I think a few people are already ready to hover their mouse over the buy now button right now. Can you, so Moretti's asked, can you apply different LFOs or envelopes per parameter lock? And then we've got Henrik's going to be next with his question.
Yeah, you can basically record, and anything you can see in the blue section. So cut off, depth, time, rate, and all the ones underneath, the resonance, pan, level, swing, even swing, can be assigned per step, per track. So you can get some really wild things going, and even the sounds themselves that are loaded into the morphing engine can be automated as the sequence plays. So that can get you into some really deep, weird territory. So you can be morphing sounds, and as they are morphing, you can swap them out. So you can just do some incredibly weird sort of micro edits to get some really wild stuff going on. So yeah, and also things like the effect send can be programmed to only send reverb on a particular step.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it's really amazing.
All right, fantastic.
Now, not only that, but your tracks also can be different lengths to each other and have different note values associated with them. So you can have one track be a, you've got dotted and triplet lengths. And so you can change the length of the tracks discretely all the way between 1 and 64 steps.
So is that polyrhythmic, or is that it's still at the same tempo and everything, or?
It can be polyrhythmic and polymetric.
Wow, nice.
Or either or, and so if I can I made a quick example of the polyrhythmic capabilities of it last night.
We'll come to you in a sec, Henrik. Won't be a sec.
Yeah, so this is it. So on this track, the kind of dubsteppy kind of thing, the bass is running at dotted quarter note. So you get that kind of triplet feel.
Yes.
Everything else is running at sixteenths.
Nice.
Like that. And I think this one is running at eighth notes, so it's twice as long, so that runs for effectively 8 bars.
Nicely done. All right, we're going to go to Henrik. He's got a question. He's been waiting here patiently.
When you edit a sound and you say you sample it, is it sample so you use an audio sample as an oscillator, or what do you mean?
Oh no, sorry. Yeah, it's just capturing. It's the way the morphing works is interpolates all the values between the 2 presets. So you'll get a set of numbers effectively that's halfway or wherever between the 2, and then you can say that you capture that into a new preset. So it's not a sample. It's just being captured. The actual FM sound is being captured. So you can go in and edit that, or you can re-morph that with another sound to your sort of heart's content.
Okay, and a second question. You say it has 4 tracks. Is that can it be used multi-timbral? And how is the polyphony
Yeah, so each track can send and receive MIDI on its own channel, and you can also assign voice modes to it. So here, that one's set to legato, mono, and then we've got 2 polyphonic tracks. It's got 6-note polyphony, which is divided up amongst the tracks, so it helps to keep things in control by having certain ones set to mono.
So the 6-note polyphony is across the whole tracks?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's spread across the 4 tracks.
Fantastic. All right, couple more questions. Henrik, was that all you wanted, or can I move on to the chatties now? You good?
So far, fine.
So far, he's got more. He's brewing some questions. All right, fantastic.
Good.
Let's have a look at the connections, because there was a question from Greg in chat who's asking about CV control. It might be a good opportunity to look at the physical connections on this. So, Chris, do you want to run it through with us?
Yeah, so we've got sync in and out, which is it's compatible with your Volcas and everything nowadays. It's running those kind of analog click in and out connections.
So that's a 1 PPQN. So the Volcas would normally be a 1 PPQN. So that's going to be the same. Yep.
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay.
I think Evan might be able to help with that, or Dr. Yu Endo, I'm not sure. But
Evan's nodding his head.
Yeah.
We've got.
That's
right. So obviously we've got MIDI in and out. We can run 4 channels to the 4 different tracks, and then the same on the output. We can assign the 4 tracks to 4 different channels on the output, so you can send out MIDI as well and sequence external gear.
Nice.
And then we've got line in and out. The line in's just to take audio and run it through the effects. So, for example, you could connect another piece of equipment up, sync it, run it back into the Liven, and then it'd be coming through the effects or not. It's up to you. You can change the line in effect amount manually, and then obviously line out for recording. And you've got a separate headphone jack, which can also be set to match the way that pocket operators sync. So sending 1 channel of audio and 1 click.
Okay, cool. So we got some teenage engineering and some Volca sort of connectivity.
That's right. Yeah.
Now the power is a DC barrel. Is that 9 volts?
right.
I'm seeing.
Yeah, 9-volt positive sensor. I think.
Okay.
Evan knows the jack.
Yeah, I can cover a little bit of stuff here. So the power jack is the same one as the Volca. So if you already have Volca power supplies and all that compatible stuff, because we know that there's a huge aftermarket kind of gear world for that. So we tried to make it as compatible as possible. So if you already have a Volca power supply, that will work. And like Chris was mentioning, if you have pocket operators, you can chain this, you can have pocket operator, Liven, and then another pocket operator afterwards, and they'll all work together. And then somebody mentioned in the chat about MIDI through. So yes, you can choose if you want it to do MIDI in and then through and then to MIDI out. That's customizable.
So is that a soft through, or is that a software through, or is that a hardware through? Because sometimes there's a distinction between the two.
I think that is a software through.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not a dedicated hardware through.
Yeah.
Because it does go through the synth.
Yep.
Evan, that is about sync jack.
For MIDI, for the signal to input to output for through, is that software? Does that go through software, or is that just direct connection?
Not direct connection.
Okay.
That
So
is software.
Yeah. Now the reason why I make that distinction is not a negative. It's actually a thing that people like to know, and that is because sometimes there's a very, very subtle latency when the software has to retranslate and send it out, and there might be this very, very small amount of latency. That's the only reason. All right, beautiful. Now there was a question from Duncan. Can I quickly get to that one? And maybe we'll go to Chris's view here. Duncan's asked, how many different parameters can you p-lock per sequence, and is there a limit to the number of per parameter?
I don't actually know the answer to that question, embarrassingly. I'm going to have to...
Okay.
I think
everything. We asked Evan?
Let's... I know that on the 8-bit warps, it's pretty much impossible to run out of parameter locks. But I can actually, let's ask Endo that. I can kind of reposit that question so it's a little easier for him to get it. So somebody was asking if there is a limit to how many parameter locks you can record to the tracks.
That is depends on step length setting. So if you set 64 steps, you can also recording all parameter on each steps.
Okay, so it's one parameter per step.
No.
Okay.
Or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Maybe target of parameter lock parameter.
Yeah, so I think that's everything.
Everything.
So
you can.
Yeah.
Exponential.
So you could do every knob on every step. Is that correct?
Yes. But just a little different. Actually, FX parameter and velocity and pattern level is not target for parameter locking.
So it's just the stuff that's in the blue section, isn't it?
Blue section.
Still everything on there.
So let's just have a look
But
at that.
essentially
It's that blue section there that we're talking about, right?
Yeah. Yeah, can we get a better... I don't know if we can get a better look at that.
This blue section, you can parameter locking all this blue section parameter on each.
Yeah, including the shift functions on each as well, I'm sure that's the
Yeah,
case.
because you've got some, like there's some that's got 4 or 5 things per knob. Yeah. Fantastic. All right, I hope that answers your question. Who was that? That was Duncan's question, wasn't it? Yeah. All right, and okay. So Evan, what else do you want to do now? Should we do some more demos, or I'm going to sort of hand this over to you. What have you got planned?
Sure. So I would actually like to play one of Chris's other demos that I linked earlier, if that's all right. So we can get some more sound going on here.
Now, do you want
is it possible for me to share a screen, or should I throw you a link?
Throw me a link, and I'll do it from my end because it'll come out lots clearer. Now, is this a YouTube link, is it?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
So let me just put that in the chat here of the main stream. Does that work?
Yeah, you guys go for it. And then everyone else can
here you go.
click on it later.
Yeah, so I just threw that in there.
Let's go to here. All right, now I'm just going to get a copy of that. Just give me a sec because I've got to actually add it as an input to our system here. And it does have a little balk at it sometimes.
Sure. Well, while you're getting that ready, one thing I can also touch on with all the Liven series is that on top of being a synthesizer, one of the things that they can also do is sort of be your MIDI Swiss Army knife. So if you say want to have your pocket operator be the main clock, you can could start with that, and then you can plug that into the audio in, and then you can have the Liven listening to that clock, and then you could output to MIDI to a Volca. So essentially it can convert the audio sync of a pocket operator into MIDI sync that a Volca could understand, or the sync signal that a Volca could understand. So in that sense, it is providing a lot of value as a MIDI translator between different sources of sync. And this one's even wilder since you can send out 4 different tracks of MIDI you could really have this be your main sequencer to a bunch of other gear. And if you wanted to, you could ignore the internal engine altogether and just use it as a really functional sequencer. And all the knobs, I think all the knobs in the blue section also send out MIDI CCs, which can also be recorded into the parameter locks. So if you're able to match the MIDI CCs that are on the XFM to an external gear, you can, you know, have those parameter locks changing your external gear as well. So at you know, at this price point, $199 USD, it does a lot. Even just as a sequencer, you could justify the $199 price, let alone all the cool FM stuff it can do. So anyway, value, just throwing it out. Oh, I think you might be muted, Rand.
Yeah, I was just saying I just had a little bit of a technical problem with that video, so let me just see if I can get it running and as a screen share off my computer, but it's basically just going to give people a better audio, and if we can sort of persevere with that, hopefully the technical
sure, take your time.
All right.
And then I can look and see if there's any questions I can hop on here. Let's see. Yeah, Avril. Shout out to Avril, by the way. Avril Kadabra. She's asked me a ton of questions, and she also makes content for the 8-Bit Warps. And she's a great community member. So thanks for asking questions and answering questions in the chat. Let's see. Yeah, so the parameter locks are independent for each track. So if you set parameter locks in track 1, they're going to be different than all the other tracks. And like we mentioned before, pretty much everything can be, you know, if you wanted to change everything on one step, you can. Let's see if there's any other questions I could get in here. Scrolling through the questions.
I am going to maybe get you to play that video because I don't know why, but for some reason, YouTube wants me to log in, and it's never asked me to do that through the streaming platform before because there's absolutely no way. I can only click with the mouse. I can't type. It's just a very, very basic sort of browser, which is weird. Although I do have a Surface here, maybe I might be able to get it up and running with that. No, we'll do it through you. We'll do it through you, Evan. You can just screen share.
Okay, sure. Yeah, hopefully it'll share audio with me as well. So I'll go to screen number 2. Okay, and
an intro, by the way.
That's all right.
Oh, no,
all right, could you guys hear that? Could you hear his little intro there? No audio? All right, let's see if I can switch that on. Open settings, for stereo, audio. Is there a setting I should switch on for that? Okay, let's see. Okay, let's see. Let me share one more time. Sorry about that. Screen sharing, and I'll switch to screen 2, and I will allow, and then I'll click that. Oh, that didn't do anything. All right, so let's see if you guys can hear this, and if we can, then hopefully.
No, we're still not.
Are we getting audio?
Nope.
No dice?
No dice. All right.
Dang. All right. Well, maybe I can share just this video link, not in the playlist, and maybe that'll fix it.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Because maybe it's the playlist that's being weird. So let me just throw that link in the chat, and we'll see if that will come through for us. Because I know Chris's video isn't private or anything, because it's got plenty of views.
All right,
So see if that will work for you.
Actually, maybe that might actually work. Let me just try that. Maybe it was because it was a playlist instead. Let me just try that.
I suspect that maybe that was it. That is my running theory.
It's wanting me to log in. I'll show you what it's asking me. This is what it's asking me to do, and I've got no keyboard access to that. It's just it's bizarre.
Oh, dang.
So yeah,
That is bizarre.
it is bizarre.
Well,
I've never
folks,
seen that happen before.
Definitely check out the links. You know what we could do as an alternate? We have a SoundCloud playlist of a bunch of the presets that Chris is working on.
Yeah.
So perhaps I can send that link over, and then we could listen to those.
All right, do that. We'll try SoundCloud.
Yeah,
unless it wants me to log into SoundCloud. Anything that doesn't require logins is good.
Sonicware. Let me just hop onto that. Everyone's gonna look at all my guilty pleasure trap music on SoundCloud. I love it.
Fantastic.
All right, here we go. I will send over this link for all you lovely folks. 1 second. Which one? Oh, there it is. That's
What we'll do is we'll cross to Chris's live view, and I'll see if I can do the audio over the top. I don't know if I can do it. Anyway, we'll see. We can try all sorts of things, can't we? Right, let me try this again. I'm selecting web browser as a input, and there's a massive big link just there. Wow.
Hopefully.
Okay, it was like a UDirect. Okay, I get what's going on. It's a YouTube redirect token that's causing probably half of the problems. So let me just. Yeah, it's okay. I might be able to fix this.
Could I just, because we have the in-stream chat, our private chat, I can put the links there.
Actually, what I'm going to do, here we go. If I paste it into another browser, I'm actually getting the right link now. Here we go. Let's start. That could have been what the drama was. Okay, so let's see.
Maybe I thought you were a bot or something, so it was forcing you to log in.
Yeah, and we're just looking at Chris's view, but let's see if this actually works. Oh, here we go.
Oh, nice. Looks like we have paused.
I have got the browser working. Yay! It was literally it was just some weird link. It didn't like it, and I managed to. There we go. Let's watch it.
All right, let's do it.
Wow, how cool was that? I reckon that was awesome. And it was worth persevering because you could, the guys in chat would definitely tell the difference in the sound quality versus being over a call. Evan, you might want to change to your face camera. I don't know if that helps or not.
Yeah. There we go.
And
got me answering questions in the chat.
Fantastic.
Do we show the overlay? Is that a good idea?
Yeah, let's do that.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure. We haven't touched on that at all, have we?
Whose camera do I need to go? Oh, yeah. Okay, beautiful.
Yeah. This is what we use to get to the editing. Actually, I'll just quickly go into edit. So, and punch into a sound. So yeah, we've got quick edits across the top here. So the mixer levels for each of the 4 operators, and on the shift of those, you select, rather than holding buttons actually in this mode, you just select different pages. So then on the shift version, we've got feedback for each operator, and down at the bottom here we've got ratio, frequency, fine for each of the 4 operators. And on the shift version, we've got the level, internal level, and detune for each. These are just the quick edits. The main bulk of it's done across the bottom. So these buttons select the 4 different operators, again with a main and a shift version of each one. So for example, this, if we press that operator and that button, that's our ratio frequency setting, and then level, detune, velocity sensitivity. You've got an 8-stage envelope with attack, decay, sustain, and release, level, and time. Time scale for each of the envelopes, and then we've got level scaling, positions and rates, and curves for up and down parts of the envelopes, fixed frequency option, pitch envelope send. So basically there's a single pitch envelope which is in the mixer, so that's our envelope for pitch, with a choice to send each of the operators to that. And then so our edits are made, so for example if you press 1 and then 1, that is our feedback amount, and then you can adjust it with so that is going between negative and positive feedback, and you can nudge it around with the little encoder, which is great. So you can sweep it into a rough position and then kind of tweak it to the exact amount that you want things to be at. Then we can copy other patches in to the memory, so you can duplicate something and then edit it, which is really useful. Export, name your patch, and anything else I haven't covered there? I think that's it, isn't it? Oh yeah, but this knob acts as velocity while we're in. Oh, this patch doesn't have any velocity. Yeah, so there's no velocity set up on this one, but that's an option for each of the operators separately. So yeah, all these settings here are per operator, and they're all the same. So there's no, there's no like this operator does feedback and these ones don't. They're all exactly the same.
Fantastic.
Yep.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah. So the general workflow, is that lower, all the sequencer steps are going to let you get in there and change like individual parameters for each operator. So when you really want to dial it in, whereas the top area that used to be blue and now is outlined in white is kind of like your quick ability to adjust the levels of your oscillators and how much they're feeding into each other and how much of their signal is feeding into the main mixer. So you could, it kind of fits our philosophy of making the most important quick edits on the surface, and then if you want to go deeper, you can go deeper. And also just for balancing a sound once you've made it, it's like having a whole mixer there, ready to go.
Yeah. So I'm sort of, in summary, I'm kind of seeing, so these are the kind of new benefits. The new benefits are there's a bit more of a simplistic way of getting to an FM sound if you're into sort of some basic sound design without having to get broiled into the algorithm. And then once you've done that, you can then morph between the two, and then you might even find that somewhere in between that morph, you like how that sounds, so you can actually save that now as a patch. So this is kind of like a sound designer's dream for FM. And then you might want to go, okay, now I'm kind of understanding FM a bit more. Let's go into the, you know, the algorithm side, and let's see kind of how that actually would actually look at the sort of nuts and bolts sine wave level.
Yeah.
So you can even do that. So it's really, really quite intuitive. Now, one last question from me, and that is there anything to do with editing this on a computer, or is this all purely just at the hardware level? Is there any computer-based MIDI version editor or anything like that, or anything planned in the future?
We don't currently have plans for a computer-based editor, but this synth does respond to CC messages. So we're still kind of working out how we want to implement that and how deeply we want to go with MIDI CC control. But yeah, a fair amount of the controls will be controllable by CC. So if, for example, you're using Ableton, there's a lot of devices now where you can turn a knob in Ableton and define its CC. So you could make an editor within Ableton that would control a lot of the parameters within the XFM. It's not like you're full on, model cycles. I mean, Electron ecosystem thing where you can bring up all the controls on a huge screen.
Right.
We are a very small team, and we are not there yet. But hopefully, the controls on it will provide enough interface that you can get in there and edit it without needing to connect an LCD. If you need to connect a monitor to our synth, then we failed in the UI, and we should go back to the drawing board at that point.
Oh, there's been some really good arguments about that lately with synth design, and that is, over the years, the screen has been the biggest argument, and people were saying, I don't like menu diving, so get rid of the screen, and maybe that might be half the problem that everyone's got. So what, do we have like this 60-inch screen on a synth? Is that going to help everyone? Or should we just get rid of it completely and just make the UI that intuitive that we actually don't need one? Yeah. So you've got kind of two camps there, haven't you? In terms of MIDI, I had one other question that sort of came in through the chat. I think it was, does it going to have SysX? Are they going to release the SysX information? And I just want to add to that, you mentioned CCs, maybe perhaps some sort of NRPN implementation, or is that just all part of the CC side of it? Is that kind of what you guys are looking at?
I am not sure what that means.
Okay, so NRPN.
What do you mean by NRPN?
So SysX is kind of like your real, nerdy level of MIDI, right? And then NRPNs are kind of like the non-registered parameter numbers that MIDI talks. So there's RPNs, which is what all CC messages talks. Like, for example, CC message 1 is, it's already in the MIDI standard. NRPNs are out of the MIDI standard, and a software developer can allocate any of them to whatever he decides to. And if Dr. Yu's decided that he wants to use NRPNs, he should have a table of what he's used for them. And basically all we're asking is that table of MIDI parameters going to be publicized so that we can manipulate it?
Yes. Yeah, so if you go on the Sonicware website, which is sonicware.jp, we share the MIDI implementation on there. So
Fantastic.
That will show like all the MIDI CCs. So if you want to map it to something else like external controller or Ableton or whatever else, it works essentially how you've described. There's just a list of MIDI CCs and then a list of parameters that it controls. Right now, we're still kind of in development of the MIDI spec of this, so we're not sure exactly how many of those knobs are going to be MIDI CC controllable or not. So that's a little bit up in the air, so I don't want to make any promises on that. In terms of SysX, we haven't released the SysX standard for our patches and stuff. So at this point, it isn't possible to look at the SysX and kind of reverse engineer it. I'm sure people could, But at this point, we haven't released that to the public yet.
All right, so this is the MIDI implementation chart that is actually on the website. Now, I don't know if I can zoom in or not, but I don't even know if I can scroll or not. Maybe I can scroll, maybe I can't. Here we go, there you go. So that's already there. You guys can go check that out. I'll actually paste the link that, this is what Evan was just talking to us about. So I'll paste that into the chat. You guys can go check it out. That is already there. So you guys can go put your propeller hats on and go MIDI crazy. So let's check that into the chat room. There's the link that I just showed you. Fantastic. It looks like it's really, really well thought out. And a lot of people are saying a lot of really positive things about it. My favourite synth brand right now says Gianni. So that's really positive. Well done, Dr. Yu. You're getting some really good positive feedback. And I think it's maybe something that we've always wanted is this as an FM synth. We've always wanted to be able to, I think he's right in what he said about this cross FM engine and the morphing, and I think it's just really, really intuitive. So fantastic.
It is for me. I've been looking for a knobby FM synth for a long time.
I think we all have, right? And no one's ever done it, have they? No one's ever done it right.
Not
they've
really.
tried.
I mean, you've got the DX200, was it, that Yamaha made, but that just kind of accepted DX7 presets, and you couldn't really edit properly from there.
And it was,
but
and it was
I mean,
kind of clunky.
all the sounds that I've built for this have been done through this UI overlay. I haven't edited them on my computer or anything. It's all been just done from the front panel. And the same with the demos. All the demos are just morphed versions of the presets that we've already made. I haven't dived back in and created new sounds from scratch. It's just been done through the other level. I've literally just made my songs from this bit.
Yeah.
So it is incredibly well thought out process.
I don't know if you guys have noticed too, but it doesn't take up a massive amount of room on your desktop either. So that's another plus.
No, it's not huge. We got like a QVC ruler.
I'm gonna get Henrik's question. He's got a question for you in a sec.
There's a Wurzel Gummidge ruler.
Oh, there you go. So
it's 12 inches long. There you go.
12 inches. Beautiful. Look at that.
Nice
So Henrik's
70s Wurzel Gummidge ruler.
Henrik's got a question. Let's go to Henrik.
Yeah. As I understand it, the Sirchuk is not ready yet, but when it's ready, are there plans for a librarian, software librarian? So
not at the moment. We don't have plans to have like a proprietary engine for transferring patches. Right now we've been recommending that people use MIDI librarian for Mac and Bohm's MIDI utility. I think it's called MIDI aux.
Yeah, MIDI aux. Yeah.
Wait, no, that's MIDI aux, and then you could probably also use Bohm's Send. Send. Yeah, that will probably work as well. It's something that we have thought about, but we're not sure yet on that.
Okay.
It would help people not so technical people. It would help them, and it would make more patch developers do libraries, I think. So
sure.
It would be good for the product to have it.
Good suggestion. Absolutely. Maybe they can take that on board. So it's probably not that hard to do a MIDI librarian. It's just literally just a list of a little table, and then it's just to be able to do the sysx transfer. So it's probably something within the scope you guys could do, and then you could actually release that as your own branded one. Keep it in house. It's a good idea. Very good suggestion. You never know. He's nodding his head. He's liking the idea.
It's something that. It's something that me and you have thought over in terms of the amount of engineering time, and but if we are expecting people to use sysx, which is from the 80s, we should make that as easy of a process as humanly possible. So it is something that we have thought about.
I've got some really, really big MIDI people that I use quite a lot in my channel, and I know they're probably going to be watching this on the replay, and I guarantee you the one question that they're going to ask me is, will this be compatible with MIDI 2.0, which is the future of MIDI? Now, before you answer that, I think we should also recognize that SysX is in MIDI 2.0, so it's not the dinosaur thing that you thought it was. So SysX is still around. But yeah, so
I'm glad.
It's MIDI 2.0 is going to be probably here very soon, and I guess it's a technical question, but would that be a stretch to make this into MIDI 2.0, or is that a bit too far ahead for you guys at this stage?
Well, so to break down there's so much in MIDI 2. So the question is, what features specifically would you be looking for? And that is a limitation of some of those features are going to hit limits of the hardware, right? Because at this price point, we are balancing CPU power and all the parameter locks and everything that this has to do at the same time. So adding something like per voice velocity and stuff like that might be challenging from a CPU perspective. But other stuff like kind of better CC management, I'm not totally sure. So we'd have to kind of take it feature by feature in terms of implementing 2.0. I don't know if you can speak on this as well. What are your thoughts on MIDI 2.0, the new standard? And if there's any of those features that you would like to use for Sonicware synthesizers.
Yes, of course, we should think about MIDI 2.0 after now. But actually, maybe I think this in 2 years, our product, I think MIDI 2.0 is over specification for our product, actually.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah,
I think that the key point here is that if you've got a MIDI 1 product, MIDI 2.0 will automatically go, it's a MIDI 1 product. I'm going to handle that in MIDI 1 land. It'll still work. You don't need to worry. Maybe it might be a thing of the future. So that's fine. It's not like it's not a game changer. Do you know what I mean? Not a deal breaker. It's just let's see where it goes. Yeah, cool. Pedek in the chat has said he's got a wish list, a slider control. So maybe Pedek wants to tell us what he wants. Does he want that slider control to be just sort of mappable, or is there something specific he had in mind with it? That's an interesting one. What would you like the slider control for? Is that kind of like a nod back to the DX7 with the data the data slider? I don't know if we want that. I think the data slider was annoying.
Well, one of the things, and Chris pointed this out briefly, is that okay, so like a crossfader bar.
Nice idea.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, just ahead. In terms of control, Chris mentioned this briefly. Is that there's 2 value knobs. One is an encoder, so that's for like sweeping through values quickly. I mean, one's a potentiometer, so that's sweeping through values quickly and maybe a little less accurately. And then we have an encoder that's like clicky, so you can click into like a specific value, because I hate that feeling when you're trying to get 64, but you can only get 65 or 63 with the potentiometer because it's like barely between the two. So that should make parameter editing easier. But crossfader bar is an interesting concept.
Yeah, I mean, that might even apply to the cross control of the patching as well. Henrik, you had a quick question. We're going to wrap it up in a sec, so get them in now.
Yeah, it's the slider control that leads to this question, because I was thinking it was controlling it for not sliding to the floor. So how does the back look? Are there holes so you can mount it for screw?
Oh, okay, yeah.
So you can mount it.
Chris, can you flip yours upside down for us?
There's nothing to mount. We've just got little feet on there and the battery compartment.
And are they AA batteries that go in there?
Yes, 6 AA's.
6 AA's, cool. There you go. Fantastic.
Yep.
All right.
And it's got a bunch of different battery modes too. So if you use rechargeable batteries or LiPo or whatever type, it can handle it.
So it can recharge batteries inside it. Is that what you're saying?
It cannot recharge batteries inside of it, but it's got the different curves. So if you're using batteries that are a little lower voltage or have a different discharge curve,
gotcha.
You can switch it into that mode so it doesn't turn itself off and do weird stuff.
Yeah. No, and it makes sense because it's 9 volts too, right? So that's why there's 6 batteries. All right, beautiful. Okay, I think we're probably ready to wrap it up. Evan, I don't know if you wanted to add anything more, but if you're happy, we can probably sort of start finishing the proceedings. Most people have asked their questions.
Yeah, I'd just like to say, thanks, Brands, for having us on the show. First of all, we are a very small company, and this is only our 3rd product. And we're very thankful to everybody in the community who has embraced our products and asked us a bunch of questions. When a new company releases a product, we're always asking for a little bit of trust, because we don't have a reputation yet. So we're very thankful for everyone who's given us a shot. And at this point with our 3rd product, hopefully we've earned your trust, and we'll keep making Liven units and keep exploring new sound engines. And we're happy to have you all aboard.
Oh, that's fantastic. Definitely was my pleasure, and in fact, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought the presentation that you guys put together was top professional, so well done with that. I definitely did a good job, and I think I was the one that was balking things up with the weird browser stuff. Anyway,
it's all good.
We'll get the word out. I think a lot of people will be definitely really keen on this, and obviously this video will sit up on my channel, and whoever missed it, they'll get to watch it on the replay. So I'm sure there's going to be plenty of questions coming your way. Now, the invitation is there. You guys are more than welcome to come back whenever you like. Join the stream. You don't have to all come at the same time. You can come individually. We have a regular show on Saturdays that we do, and that's still going ahead tomorrow. So yeah, do check that out. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that one, but it's a pretty geeky sort of synth show that we have a bit of fun with.
It's great. I love it.
So it's been a pleasure. It's Dr. Yu. It's pretty cool to meet you, and big thumbs up for the Liven. I think it's a fantastic synth. It's really well thought out. I'm looking forward to getting my hands on one. So Chris, also really excellent demos, mate. It's a pleasure to meet you, and I think keep doing what you're doing, mate. You're doing really good stuff there. I think everyone was. You're selling this synth just on your demo, so that should be. There's some kudos for you. Henrik, thanks for joining us, mate. Some really good questions from you, and it was so nice to have such a big representation around the world, and what a great time we live in, hey guys. We can talk synths, we can be anywhere in the world, and we've all got smiles on our faces because we all get to geek out, right? How cool is that?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And thanks for all the questions in the chat.
Thank you. Yeah, there's the chatties there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
They're all saying thank you as well, so that's fantastic. Thank you, chatties, for being part of the show. I think we should end it now because otherwise we might say something we regret, as I always say. Thanks everyone for watching. A big bye-bye from Australia and Japan and England and the US and Denmark and also Chattyland, which is down in the bottom corner. See you later.
Yes.
Cheers.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Thank you.